Hiya guys, exams are over. Okay, I think some of you still have a paper 3 and a paper 4 to write. Many of you might be wondering, where do your marks come from, how are they worked out? So that's what today's video is about, is how do we get your marks and where do they come from? And so I had a little bit of fun with this video. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. Let's do this. Okay, so you sit your exams and you don't see what happens afterwards. You might see at the front of the class the invigilator putting the exams into a bag, or the exams officer checking the names, making sure all of the exams are in order. Okay, then that bag is sealed. Okay, so that normally either kept in the safe or ready for one of the courier services to come and collect your exams. So your exam basically then put into the bag and is sent off to the exam board. So it arrives at the exam board, okay. Cambridge, if you are writing the Cambridge exams, and you'll see behind there's all these shelves with all these barcodes. So basically all of these exams come in, and the first thing they do, the bag is opened. Okay, first it's checked that it's all in good condition, the bag is opened, and then they go through that list and they check that all of the exams that the exams officer said were in that bag are actually there. You'll note that there's that little barcode on your computer, so that barcode is then scanned, okay, so that it's registered on the system. So that's why we don't want to scratch anything or make any marks on any of those barcodes. The pages are all put together, stacked on the shelf, ready for the next step. Okay, the exams are then basically taken and sliced and diced. So they'll basically cut your exam papers down on the side. That's why you'll remember when you were writing your exam, there was that specific strip where they say don't write here. They've even got it colored in normally. So these exam papers are chopped. They go into a hopper. Okay, so here you'll see in the picture in the top left-hand side, there's all of the bags now, all of the scripts. Okay, and they're making their way around on different conveyor belts to now be moved around to the different places that they need to be in order to be scanned. So your exam goes on a journey of discovery. Okay, your exam is then scanned, so it goes through the scanner. The exams board will then do a check to make sure that basically that scan is legible, so they can actually see it on a computer screen. And this is really important. This is why we tell students in that use black pen, don't use pencil, because the scanner needs to pick up that your writing, your handwriting. So please make sure that is very, very clear, that you're using a black pen. Okay, they say dark blue. Black is always better, picks up better on the scanner. Okay, so then the examiners will basically go to the warehouse or go online actually nowadays. Go online and they will take a selection of schools or a selection of school scripts, and they will check those scripts and mark those scripts. What they're looking for is scripts that are at the top, the middle, and the bottom. They'll then choose roughly about 5 different scripts, okay, and those 5 different scripts will then obviously represent a range or different levels, okay, of marks. So those different levels of marks, and this will be chosen by the senior marking team, not just any examiner. Okay, these are like the people who know everything. They are the people. Okay, they'll then discuss the marks and they'll make sure that everybody agrees on the same marks for all of those scripts. Once they've agreed on all of those scripts then are sent to the other examiners for marking. So we're going to train those examiners. So it's normally the first scripts that are received that are the ones that are chosen by the senior marking team. So please, exams officers, okay, schools, get your scripts in early. The earlier you get your scripts in, it might be your scripts that are chosen to be marked first, okay, and they'll pretty much be the guide for all the examiners from there on out. So then the examiners are trained and tested. So we go through a paper and we show them how it's marked so that they understand the exam paper. Then we test them. Okay, so we put them through a testing phase where they've got to mark some of the papers as well. Okay, to make sure that they are marking to the way that we ask them. So they become like our special forces, our super soldiers. Once we think that they're ready, we give them that stamp of approval, okay, and we tell them, off you go, start marking. We do check them sometimes. We obviously, in between, we'll go onto the system and make sure that they're still marking the way that we trained them. Okay, so the examiners are marking on a computer. So in my day, our computer was very different. We had a pencil, okay, and you had the front side, which was the print side, and the back side, that was the delete side. Okay, nowadays things are a little bit more complicated. Okay, we mark on the computer. Okay, and we need good signal. We need to make sure that we can read your text, and the exam board has in place all the different things that if the examiner is struggling with something, or if they're unsure or they can't read the text, they can then basically send the exam script back to the exam board and say this text is illegible, or we can't see something, or we're unsure of something, and then it'll be sent on to one of the senior markers to be checked. So there's a lot of checks and balances that the exam board puts in place, okay, to make sure that you as the student are not being, what's the word I'm looking for, something like that, okay? The word will come to me now in a minute, that you're not being it's not discriminated against. I know you're all shouting it at the screen now. Disadvantaged, sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. So to make sure that you're not being disadvantaged. Lots of checks in place, okay? As much as you may think it, the exam board is incredibly fair. They actually want you to do well. They want you to do well in your exams. They're not trying to trick you. They are working hard. And the examiners, they're all teachers. So they're working just as hard because they want to make sure the other examiners are also marking just as hard, just as well, to make sure their students get those top marks. So then the marks are submitted. Okay, they go into the system. No, not that mark. So then your marks are submitted. Okay, no, not the quotation marks. Oh, okay, numbers. Can you give me numbers, computer? Jeez. Okay, let's see. Numbers, there we go. So all of the numbers then go into the system. They're very official. Everything is checked and balanced, and we're making sure that we are doing the right thing. Then you get your marks, right? Well, wrong. Okay, once those marks have been submitted to the system, they again go through all sorts of checks just to make sure that you're not being disadvantaged. Okay, they go through a process of where if your mark falls below or above a certain mark that decides a grade, those exams are rechecked. Okay, so as I keep saying to you guys, the exam board is really looking to advantage you as the student and to make sure that you get the most fair mark that is possible. Okay, and when they're doing these checks, the marks can go up and down a little bit, but at the end of the process, they give you the most fair mark that is possible. So these are the grade thresholds for March 2023. Okay, the only students that basically sit the March exams are the students from India. They do the full A levels, so they do all 4 components. Not all countries do all 4 components. So component 1 and 2 is advanced subsidiary, and then you have the full A level, which is where it includes components or paper 3 and 4, which is more the linguistic side of things. Very interesting. Okay, so the grade thresholds, they can change. They can shift every year depending on lots of different things. Okay, statistics, the knowledge of that senior team, knowing what the level of the student should be. Okay, and those shifts are normally not more than about 3 marks. Okay, if the changes are very big, then obviously they're going to have to explain to the exams board, the examiners are going to have to explain to the exam board why they want to move those grade thresholds so much. So normally the grade thresholds don't change that much, but they can go up and they can go down. So in March 2023, to get an A for paper 1, you needed 34 out of 50, paper 2, 34 out of 50, paper 3, 35, paper 4, 35. So to get an A star, now remember, you can only get an A star if you do all 4, okay, of the papers. You've got to complete all 4 of the papers. So the mark, you can see here, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. To get an A star in March 2023, you needed 158. Remember that mark can go up or go down. For everybody else that write exams in the May-June series or the October-November series, okay, you can see on the left-hand side, okay, we have the marks for A. So there are 3 paper 1s, 3 paper 2s, 3 paper 3s, and 3 paper 4s. Okay, if you're doing the AS level, you're basically only doing the paper 1 and the paper 2. Okay, if you're doing your full A levels, then you're obviously doing the papers 3 and papers 4. So in June 2023, you needed 34 out of 50 to get an A. In November, you also needed 34. Okay, for paper 2, okay, in June 2023, you needed to get 34 out of 50 for an A. In November series, you needed 33. So remember what I said, those grade thresholds, they move, they shift, they can go up or down. And then again for paper 3 and paper 4, you can see there were not much changes. However, in the paper 4, there was an increase of 2 marks. So remember, they normally can shift 2 to 3 marks is generally what would happen. Okay. How do you get an A star? So this is the June 2023. You needed 160, but you needed to complete all 4 components. And in the November series, you needed to 161. So the grade threshold for a full A star, that is the minimum mark that you needed, went up by basically 1 mark. Okay, lots of statistics, lots of things that you need to check. Okay, so how do you get an A for AS level? So if you're only doing the paper 1 and paper 2 components, in June, both papers combined, so paper 1 and paper 2, in June 2023, you needed 68. And in November 2023, you needed 67. So remember, it can shift. If we go back, okay, to November 2022, okay, the mark would surprise you. It was then 66. So we know that between November 2022 and June 2023, the mark went up by 2 marks to get an A, but went down by 1 mark in November. So for those of you doing AS level, to get an A grade, okay, you're probably going to be looking for a mark anywhere between 66 and 69. okay, maybe 70, okay. But that is basically the level or the scope that we have, or that the exam boards have, in order to shift their marks, which is on a grading scale. Okay, remember, the exam board is looking to make it fair for you. Okay, results day, Tuesday, 13th of August. I mean, we all would love for our exams or our results to come out the next day. And I know that all of you are, because you've been watching my videos, are going to be getting A's. Or at least I hope you are. Okay. But we are going to have to wait for our results. Okay. So it's going to take a little while before we get our results. And we know how crazy our relatives are going to be on the day of our result. They're all going to be wanting to know, what was the mark? How did you do? Okay, that's okay. It's not about them, it's about you. You put in all the hard work, you put in all the effort, you put in all the studying. It's about what effort you put in. You know how much time and effort you put into the exams, and that is the result you're going to get. And it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. So just be happy with the grade you achieved. You did well. It's not the end of the world. It's just a grade. Okay. I'd love for you guys to basically send me your results on the 13th of August. Okay. Please remember, guys, to like and share this video. Okay. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. So thank you very much for all your sharing, for all of that. Okay. Just in case basically one of the exam boards is watching, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit subscribe. I worked for one of the exams boards. I went through this entire process. I worked on this process at all the different levels. Okay. I've sat in these meetings. So this is my understanding. If any of the exams boards wish to add anything, I'd be very happy for them to share their ideas. Okay, I will also link in some videos as well, just down the bottom, that will also help you to understand how these grade boundaries move. If you got any questions, guys, please, you're welcome to drop them into the chat box. So thank you very, very much. You guys rock and be awesome. Oh, just one last thing. So if you have watched this far, you got to be a fan, right? So a lot of the people have been asking me for t-shirts. So I don't know. I mean, obviously going out and buying, 1,000 t-shirts is going to be really expensive. And I mean, I'm just a teacher. So if you are interested and you would honestly, not just saying yes because you think you might, but you honestly think you would buy a t-shirt, okay, I would basically sell them to you at cost, plus whatever postal packaging it is, okay. So please, just in the chat box, so I know how many people would be interested in actually buying a t-shirt, then just type yes, and then I can count them all up, and then I know, okay, this is how many people would like a t-shirt. These are how many t-shirts I should print. Okay, that is really the end. You guys are awesome. Have a fantastic day.